special teams coordinator, Coach Brian, and assistant coaches Ashley Branch and Tanya Finnegan. We did see warming up in the top spot at quarterback, the lefty Sherry Anderson. We'll see if she's going to be taking the snaps primarily here today, as Baltimore will work from a 3-receiver set at their own 26-yard line to get things started off. Here will be a handoff and just a quick run off the left tackle and a good run past the 40 to the 45 and past midfield. Shay Fitzgerald, the running back on this team since 2019, a good, healthy run for a first down. So Baltimore starting off on the right foot. They're going to mark her out of bounds, I believe, right at the 50-yard line. So a 24-yard gain for Shay Fitzgerald to start things out. 5'6", 165. She attended college at Morgan State. And a big run to start things off here for the Nighthawks. The officials getting things set up here. And it'll be first down for Baltimore. Receiver in motion. That's Sabrina Pellegrini. And here comes the snap. It's going to be another run off tackle left, and it's Fitzgerald pushing past the 45, getting to about the 43-yard line, so it's a 7-yard gain as Tri-State gets the tackle from Jordan Moy, a rookie strong safety from nearby South Brunswick. Had her collegiate studies at Rider University down Route 1 off of 295. And again, we will be talking a good mix of New Jersey players, players who transferred over from the Philadelphia Phantoms, and former New York Sharks players for this Tri-State team, as it's a 2nd and 3 for Baltimore. Again, a 3-receiver set with one in motion. That's Melissa Wilson coming to the near side. Here comes the handoff, and it's going to be again a run off left tackle. A patient run by Fitzgerald, who gets past the 40, continues to push forward past the 35 through a scrum, down at about the 32-yard line, I'd say. So that's a nifty run of 11, and so far the Nighthawks getting the job done on the ground. As I talked to head coach Rich Harrigan, and this is pretty much what he expected from Baltimore. They are a ground and pound type team. They like to set the tone with physicality. And on this opening drive, it's been Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald on a drive that started at the 26-yard line. And already on 3 carries has been able to get themselves close to 50 yards. Going to be the first pass here. Lauren Vitok fakes the pass, looks for the run, contain held, and a tackle made by Tri-State as Melissa Blaze, the veteran from Brooklyn, getting the job done. She's a two-way talent for this Tri-State team, and one of those players who has experience with the defensive coordinator L.B. Robinson, the former Delaware State standout and NFL and CFL product, getting the tackle here for Tri-State to make it a 2nd down. Be a timeout called here, and it'll be about a 2nd and 4 coming up. We're going to step off to a quick break. It's the opening drive. Baltimore, they have themselves close to 50 yards here on the drive. We'll step off to a quick break. You're watching Play-by-Play Productions. Timeout. It'll be 2nd and 4 for Baltimore. And it has been so far all runs for the Nighthawks on this opening drive here on this Saturday afternoon in the Garden State. Lauren Vitak gets the snap. Tries to throw it up the middle. Pass was a bit high. Hand on the ball, but not caught. There is a flag, though, down in the backfield. As Joya Ladson maybe had a chance for the interception, but we're going to see what the penalty is here. So far, no indication of moving backwards yet. The official is not making a mark here, but we're moving backwards. And it looks like it's in the form of holding as they go back 10 yards. So we saw for the first time Tri-State going up against the Baltimore pass. Again, the Nighthawks not as versed in terms of their passing as they are running. They're going to go I formation here. We'll see if they try the run again. It'll be the handoff to Fitzgerald, going off tackle right this time, getting past the 30, utilizing her speed. She has the edge, fends off a tackle, a bit of a stumble, but in the end zone for a touchdown as the Nighthawks start things off here on the board to make it 6-0. And it's just been strong running on the edge so far for Shay Fitzgerald. Has been on this team since 2019. And outside of, I think, maybe a 6-yard run and a 10-yard penalty, it was all Fitzgerald on this drive. So count maybe 78 yards unofficially on that drive for Fitzgerald as the extra point to come here. Catherine Smith, the one who is setting up, but there is a flag, perhaps some pre-snap movement, and it is a false start against the Nighthawks. Smith, a former goalkeeper at Frostburg State, who in recent years made their move up from the Division III to the Division II level in the NCAA. So 5 yards back here on the extra point for Smith. Kick is up, and that is lined through good. Obviously that goal-keeping prowess helping out Baltimore. It's a 7-0 lead for the Nighthawks. Here in the first quarter of action, we will pause for a quick break. You're watching the Women's Football Alliance on Play-by-Play Productions. A strong drive on the ground for Baltimore gives the Nighthawks a 7-0 lead. It was a lot of Shay Fitzgerald on the ground for the Nighthawks, counting for nearly 80 yards in the opening drive as a kickoff here, off the hands and out of bounds. And we'll have things set up, I believe, around the 31-yard line. It'll give us a chance to see for the first time the Tri-State offense. A lot still unknown about the offensive unit for the Warriors. Again, kind of how things normally go practice-wise for a young team is the defense will come along quicker than the offense, because obviously you have to have that communication on the offensive line, but this does have the offensive line a good amount of experience from previous stops. So when talking to Coach Harrigan, he was pleasantly surprised with how things came along in practice. There's a timeout called by Tri-State. Gives us a chance to look into the coach's corner for Tri-State head coach Rich Harrigan. And again, he's working a lot with the defensive coordinator L.B. Robinson, but Harrigan kind of got his start in the early stages of the 2010s and head coaching stops with the New York Sharks and the Philadelphia Phantoms that really factor in big to this roster here, and both the Sharks and Phantoms having time with the WFA, and that has kind of helped to spearhead this roster here in 2022. As out of the timeout, it'll be Tri-State under center here for their first ever offensive play. It's going to be a quick run up here, up the middle, and that'll be stuffed right at the line for Tri-State. Player losing her helmet. And Demira Lockhart getting that fixed. Game officially went for about 2 yards here, so it'll be 2nd and 8 coming up for the Warriors. Warriors going to be setting up here as Netta Wise is going to take a shotgun snap here for the Warriors. Wise gets the snap, rolls out to the right. Going to try for the keeper here herself. Wise, such a well-versed player, looks for the spin move. He's going to be pushed maybe for a gain of 1 or about no gain here to set up 3rd down. Wise listed as both a corner and wide receiver. Oftentimes will be the Z receiver, kind of the go-to in crunch time. But they're working in the quarterbacking role, trying for the rollout right. So 3rd down coming up here for Tri-State. Warriors getting themselves, I believe, another timeout here. And so early on, Baltimore found themselves strong on the ground. Tri-State trying the same. It'll be 3rd down when we come back after this break. You're watching Play-by-Play Productions. Back here in New Brunswick, New Jersey, as it'll be 3rd down coming up for the Warriors. 3rd and officially 8 here on their opening drive of the ball game. Baltimore working strong on the ground to get a 7-0 lead. And now it'll be a look for Tri-State here on 3rd down. Lockhart lost her helmet on the previous play, is back under center here for the 3rd down, and she's going to hand it off. A little hesitation in a run between the tackles. Leads for a gain of maybe 3. I believe that was Nikki Joseph on the run. And it'll set up 4th down. So on the ground early here for the Warriors. They're at their own 36-yard line. It's a 4th and 5. And it'll be a punt coming up for Tri-State. Just starting to set the tone here, but first we're going to have a flag, I believe, for some illegal motion. So that'll set the Warriors back 5 yards. And now 4th and 10 coming up. Here comes the snap. The punt's going to get off. It'll take a hop over the punt returner all the way back to the 30. A slide on the ball here. A little bit of trouble to pick it up as it gets over the head of Diamond Scott. Scott, I believe, was able to get the recovery, but a favorable bounce for the Warriors. One thing to note for the Nighthawks, this is their first look at this stadium, so you get here and there's only so much time you can really gauge to see how the ball hops off the turf. And as a result, maybe all that practice that you put in kind of doesn't help out because you didn't get the practice here on this field. So that takes a favorable bounce for the Warriors, and it'll be first down for Baltimore at their own 23-yard line. Second drive here for the Nighthawks, who went 3 and out in their first, or for Tri-State going 3 and out in their first drive, but for Baltimore in their first drive, a lengthy touchdown drive primarily on the ground, as this time the edge sealed up well. Good job on the edge defensively. On the tackle, that was Quay Dorsey, one of the top leaders for this Tri-State team, coming over from Philadelphia in terms of the Philadelphia Phantoms. Really one of the leaders here on this young program, getting the tackle, limiting it to a gain of 1 for Shea Fitzgerald. 2nd and 9 coming up. Dorsey, a product of Lindenwold, New Jersey. Not a 3-point stance here on the edge. It looked like perhaps a leave early for Baltimore, but the snap got off fine. It's a rollout right and a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Nothing doing for Lauren Vitak, the Francis Marion product, who was a starting goalkeeper at both Francis Marion and Shepherd at the Division II level, but a tackle for a loss here makes it 3rd down, and a good response for the Tri-State defense after Baltimore just ran it down their throats in the opening drive. They have sealed the edge off well here to start off this drive. It'll be a 3rd and 12 coming up after the 3-yard loss. It may force Baltimore to try a pass here, or we'll see if they play field position. Going from the I formation. Vitak looking, throwing this one deep over the shoulder, but a bit short of Sabrina Pellegrini. It's incomplete, and it'll be a 4th down coming up. So that means the punt unit on for the Nighthawks. Looking to see who's going back to return for Tri-State. It looks like it's going to be Ashley Mathis, the rookie. Very speedy runner who actually gets more experience working as a running back. Could have the speed to get outside the tackles and hit the edge. So the punt coming up here on 4th down for Baltimore. Punt gets off clean. Goes to about the 40, takes a favorable hop for Tri-State. They're not going to go try to touch this one. And it's down by Baltimore at the Tri-State 39-yard line. So good field position for the home side here in this first quarter of action. And we'll get a second look at the Tri-State offense. Each side going 3 and out in their last possession. And again, early in the season when you're trying to find the offensive chemistry, you want those big plays defensively. Tri-State getting it done. Coach Harrigan calling the defensive line the dog team. That's really where the best experience and success for this team has been in terms of previous stops and building up this roster. But it'll be the second look here for the offense, and we'll see if they try to go on the ground or through the air in the second possession. Break of the huddle here. And again, we'll see Demira Lockhart under center. Bobbles the snap. A little bit of trouble here in the backfield. It was a bobbled snap that allowed Baltimore to get a good hop on the ball. Handoff eventually got to Kimmy Dolson, but it's a big loss here thanks to the Baltimore defense getting through. It'll be a loss of 4 here to set up second down and 14. Tri-State will be utilizing different backs in the field throughout this season. They kind of have a yin and yang going on in terms of experience between the veteran Gabby Nazaire and the rookie Kimmy Dolson. Dolson coming from a lacrosse background, so obviously good on her feet, has some jukes to her as well. But this is going to be a handoff to Nazaire. Both Nazaire and Dolson were in the backfield. Handoff to Nazaire. No gain here. Maybe a loss of 2. And we'll set up third down as the Baltimore defense getting penetration on this drive. Third and long coming up. And we see here a stoppage. 3rd and 16 to come. We're going to step off, I believe, for a quick break. We have more to come. It's 7-0 Baltimore. You're watching the Women's Football Alliance on Play by Play Productions. Tri-State Warriors football is brought to you by Wilson Football, Zenith Helmet, Secret Deodorant, and Club Metro USA and Franklin Park, New Jersey. As 1 quarter in the books, Baltimore in its opening drive went 74 yards primarily on the ground to make it a 7-0 score as the sides switch here into the second quarter of action. And Tri-State facing a 3rd and long here. It's officially a 3rd and 17. And the pressure on. Not a chance to get the throw off here for Demira Lockhart. And it's going to be a long loss here as the Baltimore defense not allowing Lockhart to get outside the tackle for the throw. So a sack for the Nighthawks, and there is a Baltimore player a bit slow to get up. Back to her feet after making the tackle to Harsa Jordan, the Baltimore product who's been on this team since 2014 and a key factor on this defensive line for the Nighthawks. It'll force the punt unit to come out. We saw the first time a good bounce on the kick go over the head of Diamond Scott, so Scott a little bit further back. And again, for these punt returners, the challenge, especially when you're on the road, is to kind of gauge how the ball is going to bounce off the turf. And that's not something you can 100% practice for when you haven't had experience on another team's playing surface. Snap is good. The punt gets off. It's going to take a hop around the 40, kind of go into no man's land, and it's going to be covered at the 29-yard line for Baltimore. So Tri-State, a pair of 3-and-outs offensively. They forced a 3-and-out defensively their last time on. Baltimore will try to do what they did to start things off, and that was a lengthy drive for a touchdown on the opening drive of the game. So far, most of the success has been on the ground. No passes complete from either side yet. And we'll see what Lauren Vitak and the Baltimore offense have to say for the opening play of this drive here early second quarter. Officially marked at the 30-yard line, not the 29. 1st and 10 for the Nighthawks. We're going to have a handoff with a good penetration in the backfield. Fitzgerald thought she might have had a head of steam, but the tackle comes behind the line of scrimmage. A little bit nicked up on the tackle, but making a good one was Shauna Alexander. She's going to stay on the field, but she is a big force at middle linebacker for this Tri-State Warriors team. Went to college at Bloomsburg University, a restaurant owner, one of the top leaders from the Philadelphia Phantoms, and now Alexander's going to need some help here off the field. But she was really critical from the Philadelphia unit, both her and Quay Dorsey, to garner team interest from the Philadelphia contingent to put this roster together. It's a good mix between Jersey products, Philadelphia area products, and New York products. Again, a mixture of the former New York Sharks, the Philadelphia Phantoms, who are now in the WNFC, and then obviously the local products here in the Garden State as the Women's Football Alliance. Very proud to have a team here. Really a good spot for a team here at the Division II level here in New Jersey. And so after Alexander gets help off the field, it'll be 2nd down and 11 coming up. Throw coming here. Ball read well on the route, but I think it's going to be pass interference as Netta Wise had a good read on the ball, but kind of went a bit through the intended receiver, Amanda Ike. Ike having a very interesting story. In fact, you have 2 on this Baltimore roster who are head coaches at Roland Park Country School. Ike, a former women's basketball forward, head coach for the volleyball team at Roland Park. So I believe it was, yeah, now good the chains are going to move here for the 1st down. Had to get the correct 10 yards there. Again, Wise had a fantastic read, just kind of good, couldn't get the route to the ball, as this is a good run for Fitzgerald. She gets past midfield, storming ahead into Tri-State territory, tackled at about the 43-yard line. Shay Fitzgerald has been the go-to so far for the Nighthawks, and when she's had gains, it's been in chunks. It's kind of a boomer bust situation so far for the Nighthawks, but they are storming ahead here with the 1st down. Going to have, I believe, a timeout for a player to perhaps get help. I mean, it looked like we did have a trainer coming out. So we're going to have here, again, Alexander's kind of working through injury. She got back on the field after suffering an injury. She's really trying to tough it out right now, and this is obviously the first game ever for the Warriors. You have one of your leaders, a middle linebacker who kind of holds everything for this unit, dealing with an injury, and she's going to be helped off the field, but the toughness she's showing certainly should help to rub off on the rest of the team here to continue to fight through. Again, Shauna Alexander, nicknamed E-Way and big leader for this team. She's going to continue to try to get off here, and now on her own power. Showing the grit here. Obviously, you can tell she wants to get back on that field. Had one play off after the previous injury, came back on, but right now they believe a leg injury, not agreeing with her at this point. So first down coming up here for Baltimore at the Tri-State 42-yard line. Vitak takes the snap, faces some pressure, throw off the hands, nearly intercepted. As Melissa Blaze had a chance for the interception, but the pressure up the middle, the key there. Vitak had to try to track back and make the throw, and it took a lot off the ball. Second down coming up. Seven nothing the score in favor of Baltimore here. Second quarter of action. Third drive for the Nighthawks. First drive was a touchdown. Second drive a punt. And again, the advantage has mostly been on the ground for the Nighthawks. Runner goes in motion here. Now Sabrina Pellegrini, but the runoff again to Fitzgerald, immediately met in the backfield. Good work on the edge by the Warriors. That tackle made right at the line of scrimmage by Blaze, who is a union carpenter from Brooklyn. Putting her hard hat on there, metaphorically speaking, and getting the tackle for no gain. 3rd and 10 coming up for the Nighthawks. Baltimore still trying to find success through the air. We'll see if they try to go on the ground, maybe 4-down territory. As they go in I formation, Vitak rolling out to her right. Tries to get down to the edge, won't have it. And again, it's Blaze getting the job done. It's a loss of about 3. And it sets up 4th down. And Blaze has so far been the standout defensively. That'll likely force a punt for the Nighthawks. But they're actually going to maybe keep on the offense here. Yeah, Vitak's going to stay on. And now actually could be headed back to punt. Well, a former goalkeeper, that means you have the quarterbacking and kicking ability. Takes a favorable hop here for Tri-State. There's not going to be much on the advancement here, though, as the ball was picked up on a hop by Ebony Knowles. That was alert play on the return attempt, but just couldn't get turned. Baltimore was there to pick it up for the tackle. And Tri-State, they are pinned back, but actually really like that idea there. If you're Baltimore, you have a quarterback who has kicking experience, and why not keep the team off balance, so to say. They were not ready for a punt there, so to say, but still try to make something out of it. Tri-State will have it at their own 12-yard line. Still trying to find their offense. Defensively, though, maybe settling down here. First and 10 coming up. Here comes the handoff, but Baltimore stout at the defensive line. They're not going to allow much here. It's going to be no gain for the Warriors on first down. Make it second down coming up. Offense does have its share of veterans, led by the likes of Amanda Avento at center, as well as Carrie McDonnell, the left guard and tackle, a veteran who came out of retirement, previously playing with the New Jersey Titans. Some of the leaders on the offensive line. Here will come the next snap, the run on second down. Handoff goes to Ashley Mathis, but she's not going to get much here. It's again Baltimore holding up at the defensive line. Third down now coming up. And the offensive line trying to find some open holes, but credit to the Nighthawks. They're not allowing much. Third down coming up here. So far, we've seen one attempted drop back on third down that led to a sack. That was on the last drive where Tri-State had good field position, but the sack knocked the Warriors outside of 4-down territory. They're now deep in their own territory at their own 12-yard line. Here comes the third down. And there's going to be pressure right in the backfield. Again, Baltimore coming up big on third down. It's going to be a loss of, say, about 4, maybe 3. And it's going to force a punt here deep in their own territory on fourth down. So right now, just no answers for the Tri-State offense. Again, first game for this young program, so the challenge is when you have the limited practice time is trying to find that cohesion on the offense. And then when that starts to happen, that's when the playbook really starts to open up. So the punt coming up here, it's been strong punting so far for the Warriors. But again, you have the ball likely to be received right at the goal line here. So they're going to have to get the ball out of pressure. Snap is a good one. Kick gets off. And it's a lined kick just over the head of the returner, Amanda Ike. Ike's able to pick the ball up, but right now, if you're Baltimore, the biggest challenge is trying to gauge these punts. They've been good ones, and that one kind of came quick on the line, so there really wasn't a chance for Ike to get settled underneath it. Nighthawks will have the ball at the Tri-State 45-yard line. So another 3 and out for Tri-State. They're still trying to get their first down of the game. Second quarter of action as the opening drive touchdown so far the distance. Fitzgerald going 24 yards on her first play. Counted for nearly 80 yards on the opening drive. And we'll see as the Nighthawks looking like they're going to go out of an I formation here. 3 receivers set to start off this fourth drive of their evening. Runner in motion. And the toss. Good job on the edge. Before anything could get going, you had somebody in the backfield as the toss to Brooke Parker leads to a big tackle for a loss. LJ Fisher getting the job done. A strong player with a nasty demeanor, very fit for the trenches. Also can play as left guard on this Tri-State offense. And that's the thing, a lot of these players here for Tri-State today, more so than Baltimore, are going to have to play two-way as I believe the game day roster today was 32 for the Warriors and 47 for the Nighthawks. Here comes the snap. It's going to be another toss, this time left side. It's going to be a cut in and a pretty good run for Brooke Parker. She gets back to roughly the original line of scrimmage for this drive. So after the loss, she gets the game back. It'll set up 3rd and 10. Make it actually an extra yard. So 3rd and 9 coming up inside the Tri-State 45-yard line. As the lights on here at New Brunswick High School, we've had a mix of sun and clouds. We don't expect precipitation until maybe the late stages of the game. There is a chance of rain at the 8 o'clock hour, but we'll keep an eye on that. For now, all good to go. As the 3rd down and 9 coming up. It's going to be a drop back for Lauren Vitak, looking to throw this one deep sideline, and it's a good job in the defensive backfield for Tri-State. Pass defensed by Joya Ladson. It was a pass intended for Sabrina Pellegrini, and the knockdown makes it 4th down. Vitak going to stay on here for the punt, I believe. And again, this is kind of close to 4-down territory, so you can go multiple ways here. The snap a bit high. Vitak gets it. Boots a nice kick. Going to be let go here on a few hops. And it's going to be down by Baltimore. The nearest in the vicinity was Ladson, but Ladson alert there. Just made sure that ball didn't go any closer to the end zone, which it didn't, and Tri-State will have possession at their own 18-yard line. Trailing 7-0 here in the 2nd quarter of action. And this inaugural game for the Tri-State Warriors, they kind of got things started off in terms of their tryouts by garnering some interest through the Club Metro USA of Franklin Park. That's where the tryouts were held. There were 4 tryouts total beginning in October of 2021. Tri-State getting its team nickname Warriors for the nomad life of the Warriors and kind of being on their own, so to say. And when you look at the Division II landscape in the Women's Football Alliance, in some ways, New Jersey is, in a sense, on its own. Obviously, Baltimore making the trip up here. But when you're on your own, that does kind of lead a chance to kind of put your fingerprints on the football scene in the area, but obviously that'll take some time in the first game. Trouble in the backfield here for a handoff, and Baltimore gonna get the big loss here. Dawson already had pressure right in her face when she got the handoff, so 2nd down coming up. It's gonna be a loss of 3. I believe it's 2 minutes to go here in the 2nd quarter. Trying to hear the officials, our presence here in the booth here at New Brunswick High School. Obviously the officials on the field, but we try to hear it our best. And so 2nd down and 13 coming up. You're Tri-State here, you're just trying to potentially get a 1st down. Handoff up the middle is going to lead to a gain of about 1. I believe Baltimore still has timeouts. But right now not taking one. 3rd down coming up here. So far for the Nighthawks, you're happy with the penetration you're getting on the defensive line. Tri-State still looking for its initial 1st down of this game in their season. Misha Lockhart set to take the snap. And again, pressure coming up from the edge, right up the middle by the time the handoff comes. And that'll set up 4th down. And right now, the offensive line is going to need to get things going on the edge to help set things up for this run game to get going. It's not going to be easy to gain yards without having that chance to hit the second level. I believe that was Nazaire on the carry. And so 4th down will lead to a punt. I don't see anybody back right now for Baltimore. Snap a bit low, it's bobbled here, and there's going to be a tackle. Fortunate break for the Nighthawks. The snapping has been strong so far for Tri-State, but that one going awry. And that means goal-to-goal territory for the Nighthawks late here in the first half. So trouble there on the snap. And that one just kind of one-hopped, not allowing a chance for the kick. Ball officially at the Tri-State 6-yard line. I formation for Baltimore. And we're going to have a throw here looking for the quick slant, and that ball incomplete. Intended receiver, Amanda Ike. And so I believe 2nd down coming up here. Although that might be it. Don't think they got the time still on their side there for that throw. As the score remains 7-0 between Baltimore and Tri-State. We'll have more coming up when we return as you're watching the Women's Football Alliance play-by-play productions. Getting ready for the second half of action here on Play-by-Play Productions as it's Baltimore going up against Tri-State Warriors. Adam Dobrovolsky to be joined here in the second half by Carrie Maybank. And Carrie, obviously, thank you so much for joining us. And interesting to see what happens in the second half. A lot of play on the ground so far in this one between these two sides.
Appreciate being here, Adam. This is a lot of fun here in the booth you guys are having.
It's going to be an opening kickoff here for Tri-State. A bit of a run past the 30 as Quay Dorsey had the run back. Dorsey, obviously, one of the players that has been big, kind of helping to get this whole team together with her previous experience in Philadelphia.
She's tremendous, having had experience. Many of our women, I think about 28 or so, are brand new to at least this team, if not women's football. And she's one of our veterans. Great personality, great work ethic, strong skill set, and so we're happy to have her.
It'll be first down coming up here for the Warriors. Again, a lot of the play on the ground between the two sides. Baltimore had a chance right before the half. One throw, but incomplete, and so far it's been the pass defense that has looked strong for the Warriors, and then for the Nighthawks, they've had some on and off success on the run, and they've had some big runs from the likes of Shea Fitzgerald. We'll see how this second half of action goes for Tri-State as the opening play here in the second half. Looks like it's going to be a shotgun snap coming up here for Tri-State. And let's see how they work things out here. Going to try for a reverse. Handoff goes to Netta Wise. Wise with the lefty throw. Wide open deep downfield, but the pass a bit short and intercepted. It's a good job on the recovery by Baltimore as I believe Sherry Anderson made the interception, but good idea to try to go there for the trickery. Things didn't work out as much on the ground. He tried to go over the top there.
Hey, it's a good attempt. The Nighthawks, they were prepared for that one. Let's see what happens as we continue.
So it'll be first down coming up for the Nighthawks, our first turnover of the game. Baltimore will have it at their own 42-yard line. Wise is one of those players who's been a veteran, but she can kind of get everything done, and she's been kind of that leader trying to get the offense together.
Absolutely, dear.
So first down coming up here for Baltimore. And again, they have under center the likes of Lauren Vitak. I formation for the Nighthawks, where they've been most successful. They're going to have a handoff right up the middle. Strong run by Fitzgerald, as Shea Fitzgerald has shown the speed, but she's also shown the ability to work things both inside and outside. A gain of exactly 10 for a first down as she gets it past midfield.
She's showing some talent there, Adam, some real talent.
Yeah, speed, able to, I think the most important thing is the wherewithal. Seeing the holes for her hasn't been a problem, and when you have that vision, can really help your evening, as Baltimore are trying to do what they did in the first drive of the game here to start the second half. That's been the lone touchdown drive so far. Again, I formation, handoff again goes to Fitzgerald, gets a pretty good block, but a tackle along the edge. After a run of 3, it'll be second down and 7 coming up, as I believe that tackle made for the Warriors by L.J. Fisher. We saw some big plays defensively in the first half, particularly from Melissa Blaze, another one of those veterans, but interesting to see how the team was put together, a mix between players from New York and Philadelphia, and then a lot of the newcomers here from New Jersey.
Yes, well, it's my first inroads into women's football, but a lot of players, yes, like you mentioned, from the New York old Sharks folks from that, and some Wolves folks, and a few from former Phantom players, and a number of ladies who want to connect here in New Jersey.
It's Fitzgerald again, and she's been good. Gets another first down to the 25-yard line, and right now she's really the X factor for Baltimore. She's been having success in over 100 yards on the evening. So Fitzgerald going for about 15 yards on that run. And for Baltimore, really the good thing for them, having the experience, obviously this is the first game for the Warriors, it's going to take time to get the chemistry, but they've had several players that have been on this roster 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and When that happens, things come a little bit easier for the offensive line to communicate. You know what spots you like if you're the running back in terms of which players to follow. So first down coming up here. It's going to be a pitch this time. Fitzgerald looking for the edge. It's going to be a tackle and Blaze again. One of the leaders there.
As you were mentioning before, Adam, generally speaking, it always takes a little longer for the offense to gel. The defense seems to put things together just a little quicker. And so, it looks like the defense for the, for the Warriors are making it happen a little bit better. But the offense, hopefully they get together. But it's good to see the Nighthawks responding from last week's play.
Yeah, they struggled in the loss to D.C., but came right out of the gate with a touchdown. Trying for one here as Blaze heads off after the tackle. She's been busy so far in that second level. Timeout going to be called here on the field. That'll give us a chance to pause for a quick break. It is 7-0. We're going to pause again for a brief break as you are watching Play-by-Play Productions. All right, and we're back here as out of the timeout, Baltimore in the red zone, right about the 19-yard line of Tri-State, as they've been running a lot through Shea Fitzgerald. This time it's going to be a throw, and on the slant, it's caught. Little deke, Catherine Smith. Ball, was it over or was it lost? That was right at the goal line, and they're going to say it was lost before, so a touchback. As Vitak had the throw, the slant, it was caught, but then the ball lost right at the end zone, so it stays 7-0, and we see there the first turnover for Baltimore, but that's a big play for Tri-State, keeps them in the game, as I'll have the ball coming up, I believe, at the 20-yard line.
What luck for the Warriors and a fortuitous bounce, as they say.
And a break here for the Warriors as obviously now a look at the offense for the second time here in this second half and kind of see if they try that trickery again. Again, INT on the first throw via a trick play. Tried for the end around toss for throw. Back-to-back turnovers to start off the second half. So 1st and 10 coming up for the Warriors. Again, it would be a shotgun snap. And here's a look. Roll out left. It's Netta Wise. Wise finding the edge. She cuts in, gets past the 30. It'll be the first down for Tri-State this evening. And Wise, that talented player, utilizing her wherewithal in terms of understanding how to get the ball to the edge there and getting the first down.
Yeah, that was a good run. They're starting to show some more spunk here.
And that's the thing. We want to kind of lean in on a player like Wise who's had that kind of go-to clutch factor in her previous stops. Gives her a chance here to start to get the ball rolling for this offense.
When I first saw her, weeks ago before training camp, she had great footwork. It was tremendous. And so, Coach Rich did the right selection in putting her in the starter.
Trying to get that veteran presence here, changing it up at quarterback. Again, she likes to go mostly from the shotgun as opposed to under center. And, of course, you have a capable center to take care of that business as the throw here is short, incomplete. But obviously at center, Amanda Avento, another one of those veterans coming over from Philadelphia. She can handle either under center or shotgun snaps. So second down coming up here.
Yeah, Amanda's hard-nosed. Great work ethic. One of the first at practice. One of the last to leave. Just love her spirit, and they follow her.
Another timeout here gives us a chance to look at the upcoming schedule for the visiting Baltimore Nighthawks, as they had one matchup against D.C. They have another one coming up here in 2 weeks' time, and that's going to be their first home game, as their next week is a bye week. They will then host Tri-State coming up in May in the penultimate game of their 6-game schedule, but also New York and Columbus on the schedule for them. DC, a member, again, of the top level here in the Women's Football Alliance, so another tough challenge for them coming up in 2 weeks' time, as a 7-0 score here between Baltimore and Tri-State. Second down and 10 coming up after the incomplete pass. Wise has seen time at quarterback here to start this second half. A lefty thrower. Sometimes that's a little bit of a different read if you're a receiver compared to the righty throwers. Different spin. But right now, if you're Tri-State, her ability in open space might be the difference. So kind of a two-way player here at quarterback. She'll roll out right. Looks to loft it ahead, and that's caught for a first down. And now extra yards past midfield, and it's down the sideline. A big gain for Janaea Taylor.
As you can see, Wise gives you that double threat with her feet and with her arm, and that opens up a few things for the Warriors.
And the thing that if you're Baltimore, when you see the quarterback roll out, you may think, okay, might she run for the first down? All of a sudden, in that second level, you can kind of get someone behind it, and it was drawn up well to have Taylor come across the middle. And then Taylor, she's a wide receiver. She's very good in intermediate routes. I talked to Coach Rich Harrigan, and that's what he really focused on, her ability, intermediate routes. She also can take on contact. Didn't need to there until she broke the tackle around midfield and gets it all the way inside the 30. Tri-State looking for their first score in their inaugural game, and Netta Wise becoming the quarterback has really been the spark here in half number 2. First down coming up officially at the Baltimore 27-yard line. There'll be a handoff with Dolson taking it. Gets past the 25, is tackled there. And now you see here, you can kind of go either pistol or shotgun, and you can kind of get the handoffs to go off the tackle. And Dolson, a player who has a lacrosse background, can kind of be good in that open space, because for those who are familiar with lacrosse, you have to kind of deke to get open. You might have to try to roll, which is obviously a spin move in football. Gets a gain of about 2 there.
Being a Syracuse guy myself, I know a little bit about lacrosse, so I agree with you totally.
Oh, yeah, the Orange, obviously, top program, both the men's and women's side. Obviously, if you're from New Brunswick, you're happy how the men's lacrosse team is doing for Rutgers. They've been very good this year, I believe ranked 7th. Not sure if they beat Michigan, but last time I saw them, they're up in the third quarter against the Wolverines. Here's Wise, gets around the edge, close to a first down on the quarterback keep. It's in the red zone now for the Warriors, but I believe just shy of the first down, and it'll be a third and short, but you got to think here 4-down territory.
Absolutely. She definitely puts a lot of pressure on the Nighthawk defense. They force the linebackers to come up, and they have to respect the run.
And we'll see if it's going to be run or pass coming up on third down, but there is a player injured on the far sideline for Baltimore. And see, might be trying to get up to his feet. We're going to pause very briefly here. It's 7-0 Baltimore, but Tri-State driving on Play-by-Play Productions. out of the injury timeout. It's 3rd and short coming up. It's going to be Nighthawks now under center. Been mostly working from the shotgun, but here comes the I formation handoff, and Baltimore there at the line of scrimmage. The Nighthawks coming up big as I believe they hand off to Dolson. Again, we expected it to be 4-down territory, so you can kind of go either pass or run here, but now obviously 4th down, you're going to have your money-making play here, so to say.
It looks like the middle is not the best option. Sweeping has got them some success. They probably need to go back to that.
Well, I wonder here if you go either shotgun or pistol, if you're going to try to roll out Wise like they had on that big throw, which was on an intermediate route, but a lot of yards after the catch to Janaea Taylor. We'll see if that's the type of play drawn up here. Taylor is in tight. Wise again going to be under center here. And we'll see if Tri-State on a 4th and 2 tries to run again or if they look to go for the pass. Wise runs into Dolson, spins out of trouble, and may have the edge, has the 1st down to the 10, looking to cut in actually outside now at the 5. But how about that recovery by Netta Wise? It almost was disaster in the backfield, and she gets a 1st down.
I thought that was the way to go wide. You think they should pay me to be coach down there? They've been having a lot of success wide. You got to keep what's working for you.
So that works out in their favor. And the alert play by Netta Wise, the Norristown, PA product, getting the 1st down. Now there is a Warrior a bit slow to get up. And we'll see if that was Wise. You hope it's not her, as that tackle came at the edge near the pylon. So obviously here, this first game of the season, Warriors trying to get even on the scoreboard. We will pause briefly. It is 7-0 here on Play by Play Productions. And we're back here. It's going to be 1st and goal coming up for the Warriors, as it was Netta Wise who ran for the 1st down but got injured. So we'll see if she's able to come back in. But it's going to be another look here for the Warriors. They got the handoff, but immediately in the backfield, the Nighthawks able to get the stop. So that's going to be a loss of a few. It's going to be 2nd and goal coming up at about the 7. And I believe that is the end of the 3rd quarter. So we're going to head down to the 4th. It is a tight game. 7-0 the score. We'll have more when we come right back. Apologies, timeout was called before the end of the quarter, so 2nd down coming up. And here for the Warriors, they have to find a way to punch it in after Netta Wise had a big drive but got injured. It's going to be a false start here. And you kind of just get the sense everything runs smoother with Wise working as the quarterback, but that is a big injury that looms now for the Warriors as a false start here will push it back another 5 yards. 2nd down and goal coming up at about the 10-yard line. It's going to be a shotgun snap coming up. Throw coming up. Cut back is going to be knocked down, nearly intercepted as the Warriors try to go in the air on 2nd down, 3rd down coming up. Wise now going to trot back on the field, and obviously for Tri-State, that's a good sign, providing that experience. But the previous throw, I believe, coming from Randy Troy.
Wise showing some resilience. Let's see what happens.
And we've seen that obviously in the first half as well, with Alexander was dealing with an injury, trying to come back on. And these players, you know, they have the toughness and they have the hunger. Here a big play coming up. It's 3rd down at the Baltimore 10 as Tri-State trailing 7-0. Wise will take the snap, trying to roll out right. Baltimore has it contained pretty well, and Wise getting tackled from behind at around the 11-yard line. Kind of got roped around a bit there up top. And a 4th down coming up here, and we'll see if, you know, this, again, you're this deep in territory, down by 7. You kind of get the sense 4 down territory is the way to go, but obviously the toughest pass to complete is the one that's goal to goal in the end zone.
Absolutely. It seems like they're having more success on the left side. Let's see if that's what they try this time.
I think we're going to have a timeout from Baltimore first, but we're going to keep it here. We're going to look at the upcoming schedule for Tri-State as it's their inaugural season, and they kind of had to wait a week later than the rest because their bye week was week 1. Week 2 here, their first game. They will travel on the road for their next 3, so they will not be back here in New Brunswick until May. But obviously New York, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, all relatively local treks, but obviously not one that is close here to New Jersey overall.
Except Pittsburgh is really, that's a 5.5 hour trek.
That's going to be the longest one. But then obviously back home May 21st and May 28th against New York and Harrisburg respectively. But yeah, that one is, I think the one at Pittsburgh going to be the lengthy one. But that's a big reason why the Women's Football Alliance was so excited to have a team here in New Jersey this year, because some of these trips can be very long, but now you kind of have one that will help to make the rest of the travel a bit shorter for the rest of the teams. Absolutely.
I mean, you know, that women's football presence was needed in New Jersey. They filled the void, and it seems to be well received here. In addition, I think this will benefit the Warriors to have these 3 away games, to bond on those trips, and, you know, as a new team.
Sometimes that's the best way to get the team chemistry. As 4th down coming up here, Wise under pressure, looks for the throw. A receiver, though, slips, and the pass is going to be short, incomplete. So turnover on downs. It was a lengthy drive there, but I think the difference in that scenario, Wise had to come out for a few plays due to injury, and her speed just to be able to get out of the pocket is usually going to be the key here in the second half for the Warriors.
That's one thing you can't coach is speed, and if you have that on your side, it's definitely an added advantage.
So it is a stop for Baltimore, still leading by just 7. They had an opportunity to make it a 2-score game, but a fumble at the end zone made it a touchback last time out. So
I'm impressed with what I see with the Nighthawks. They definitely rebounded from last week and look like they're ready to play.
Leading 7-0 here, again going from the I formation. It'll be a handoff right up the middle here, but the tackle made after a gain of about 6 or 7. Quay Dorsey had the wraparound tackle. Sets up 2nd and short.
A lot of talent on these fields. Definitely impressive. Me experiencing my first women's football game. The WFA is just a great league, great for football, great for women's football.
And obviously trying to, all of us, increase the presence for the sport on the women's side. And glad to be here for this first game for the Tri-State Warriors. Another handoff coming here, but good job on the edge. Maybe there was a chance for the cutback, but that was quickly sealed up. It's going to be no gain here, setting up a 3rd and short as Fitzgerald was taken down right at the line of scrimmage by Dorsey.
Good tackle there. Sensing what was going on, getting off that block and making that tackle. Impressive.
And now a big 3rd down if you're Baltimore. You want to at least get 1, maybe 2 first downs to take the pressure off in terms of field position if you can't score here. They're going to have to get it done on a 3rd and short. Vitak looking around, ready to take the snap. And she's going to go for the pass. There's a chance to go over the top. The throw just a bit off the mark. Sabrina Pellegrini had a step, and she's shown her speed as receiver. They're just trying to get that connection through. It was a bit off the mark, and a 4th down coming up.
Great idea, great route, great throw. They just kind of missed it by a foot or two.
The 5'5", 125 wide receiver went to college at Penn State. And we will set up a punt here, I believe, for Baltimore. It's tough to say sometimes because you do have a quarterback who does the kicking duties as well. Vitak, the Annapolis, Maryland product, who is a former college goalkeeper, so you know she can certainly boot the ball. But Tri-State has a player back deep, ready to field this one. Punt gets off. On one hop, it goes wide of Ashley Mathis. Mathis going to try and pick it up, shakes off one tackle, but Baltimore helping the swarm after that at the 25-yard line. And I mentioned this, Carrie, in the first half, and really the challenge here is, obviously for Tri-State it's their first game, but for Baltimore, visiting team, is trying to understand how the ball hops on this field. There's only so much you can practice on fielding punts without actually having the experience on the field you're going to play on in terms of trying to field that ball off of bounds.
You agree. That's, this field has its own unique bounce, and these ladies are finding out, in the heat of fire, but that was a very good kick. It definitely changes the field position right now, and now the Warriors have a long way to go.
And you were thinking here the Warriors get a 3 and out. That's going to be absolutely huge for them, and then all of a sudden the strong punt flips the field.
Absolutely.
So it kind of works out as if Baltimore had a few first downs. So late 3rd quarter here, 7-0 the score. As the Warriors saw Netta Wise and Janaea Taylor lead the way on the last drive, getting it to goal before a stop by the Nighthawks. We'll see how this second drive of the half begins, or third drive, I should say, of the half begins, as Wise will pitch it out. And that's immediately met in the backfield. A lot of penetration there from the Nighthawks as Viola Hall, the defensive end, gets the tackle.
The Nighthawks have shown that they're decisive and closing fast on any runs whatsoever.
Yeah, they're getting good reads on the ball. And when you try to have that pitch outside, you're hoping for somebody to make the wrong decision there. But that was the right decision. If you kept the ball yourself with the end going out to the running back, you might have had the open space. But that will now be the end of the 3rd quarter. So we add to the 4th and final quarter. 7-0 still the score in favor of Baltimore, but we've had scoring opportunities from each side in the 3rd quarter. More to come when we return. Tri-State Warriors football is brought to you by Serenity Nail Polish. Max Edwards Company, LLC, and Loft Lounge, the Loft Lounge. And again, we thank all our sponsors here for Tri-State Warriors football. The Warriors hosting the Baltimore Nighthawks as a false start out of the break here. And so it'll be second and long coming up here. Fourth quarter of action, 7-0 the score, but Adam Dobrovolsky here alongside Kerry Maybank. And Kerry, we saw both teams have really good opportunities to score touchdowns. For Baltimore, it was yards after the reception, but a fumble at the goal line that led to a touchback. And then for Tri-State, an injury to Netta Wise. She came back in the game, but the plays she missed was on goal to goal. You couldn't use her outside the pocket until it was fourth and long. So both of these sides had their opportunities to score in the quarter, and be interesting to see if it's one of those defensive stands that's the difference here in the fourth.
Clearly the defense is dominating, and so the offense is going to have to do something extraordinary to move the ball down the field on each of these defenses.
Unfortunately, back-to-back motion penalties pre-snap has it a second and very long here. It's 2nd and 25. Wise is going to crank back and fire, and this one nearly caught. As that ball hung up in the air, Anderson thought she had a beat on it, and then all of a sudden, storming ahead, Jacqueline Todd. And Todd, a 6-foot player who has speed. She is the player that you kind of initially want to set things up for the long ball. Kind of had to go for it early with it being 2nd and long, but now it's 3rd and long.
The defense was prepared for that one, but it was a good attempt by the Warriors.
And again, you're just hanging that ball up in the air because of her speed. You're thinking, oh, that ball's overthrown, right? No, you kind of want it to fall and drop in the bucket, so to say. But now they're going to have to find something big here or just look for a chunk gain to improve field position, as it's a 3rd and 25 coming up. Looks like it's going to be Wise under center this time. Takes the snap, looks for the rollout. There's going to be forward progress inside of the end zone. No safety there, but that was well read again by the Nighthawks, and they've been doing that all game. That's the one way you can prevent a player from making a big play outside of tackles, if you get that penetration on the edge.
Absolutely. This is going to, that's not going to work anymore under Cinder, I don't think, for the Warriors.
They probably have
too
to
much
try.
penetration by the Nighthawks.
Yeah, they'll probably have to try shotgun. That's been really their best hope offensively. But now this is a tough pickle just to try to get the punt out. Got to make sure the snap is a little bit shorter than usual, and now maybe a bit more shorter as it's going to be backed up a little bit further. Another penalty down here, so half the distance to the goal.
Those penalties will kill you. They're going in the wrong direction, but they'll get it together, I presume.
Oh, they just got to get this punt off. Nobody in the backfield for Baltimore, which is astounding to me, because we'll see how things get the bounce here. It's going to put it to about the 35. Baltimore is going to slide on it, and that's just going to be down by Melissa Fuego-Milian. But interesting there, because I think Baltimore is thinking about maybe a block or something that's going short there. They're a little bit fortunate, because if that ball had the bounce the way that Tri-State would have wanted, that's going towards midfield and into Baltimore territory.
Absolutely. I think, I think they executed well. They tried to block it. It was blocked well. And I think if you ask Nighthawks if this would be the outcome after that play, they take it. So I think it worked for everybody.
Yeah, they get it inside the 40.
It's great field position still.
Yeah. Well, this is big here. If you're Baltimore, you get a touchdown here, you go ahead 2 scores in the fourth quarter. That could be enough for the victory. If you're Tri-State and you get a stop here, obviously hopes remain alive for a game-tying score. Under center once again. And it's going to be a handoff. Fitzgerald shakes off a tackle. There's penetration in the backfield. Ball, though, lost after the initial contact. And who has it? A lot going on in that play. It was nearly a tackle for a loss from April Romeo. Fitzgerald went ahead but then lost the football, and Tri-State recovers. The second fumble loss for the Nighthawks in this second half. And how about that turn of events?
It looked like you got a player getting up pretty slow there, but that was great response by the Warriors and able to get that turnover. The field position is much better. Let's see what they can do. I think this will be a pivotal point in this game, what happens over the next few minutes.
Quay Dorsey was the one a bit slow to get up, but she is right back on as, again, she does duties both ways in the trenches, defensive tackle, offensive tackle, and she's going to have to come up big here for the Warriors, trying to protect that edge. Dorsey is going to work on the left side of this offensive line at guard right now.
She's a captain of the team, and she's playing like it.
It's going to be pistol snap, a little bit low, but Wise gets it. Now under pressure, pitches it ahead. But how about Baltimore right there on the stick to get the tackle for a loss?
Again, another example of the defense is just dominating in this game, being decisive, executing, gang tackling to the ball, all the things that you're taught in training camp.
Kimmy Dolson, the recipient there, and you're just hoping for some space, but there was no chance for her to make a cut because the tackle was right there in the face as soon as she got the ball. So it's a loss of about 3.
The Warriors are lucky that wasn't a turnover with the great execution there by the Nighthawks.
Well, there were some big plays 2 drives ago for the Warriors, but since then, Baltimore making the adjustments to Netta Wise at quarterback. Wise is going to take the shotgun snap. She'll roll out right. Flicks the lefty throw, and that was, I believe, well-timed there for an incomplete pass, as Taylor was the intended target. Contact right about there, bang, but the officials did not throw the flag.
I'm not sure if that was tipped. I couldn't see well. It looked like it could have been tipped a little bit. It looked like the angle of the ball changed just a tad.
So 3rd down now. And 13, and boy, Tri-State would have loved to have that catch just to kind of cut the down and distance in half. But Baltimore, they've been up to task defensively. In this inaugural game for the Tri-State Warriors, 1-possession game, 7-0 the score. The Baltimore crowd chanting for defense. They making the trip up from Maryland as Wise looks for the throw, a bit short, nearly intercepted. As Rashida Ford had a beat on the throw. It's going to be 4th down and a punt coming up.
Yes, it's imperative they change the field position, give themselves a chance going into the deeper seconds in this quarter.
Randy Troy's been handling punting duties, and she's done, all said, a pretty stellar job for the Warriors. Didn't get the favorable bounce last punt, but got it out of the end zone. And then after the turnover, better field position here for the Warriors. But the Nighthawks have somebody back to punt for the return. And before that, we have a motion penalty against Tri-State. Those pre-snap penalties have been a bugaboo as of late on special teams.
That's a word I haven't heard in a while, but you're absolutely correct.
A little old school in that way. So it'll be back to the 25 here. It's going to be more of like a rugby-style punt here for Troy as the snap was wide. It's going to be picked up on a hop by Baltimore. And they're going to keep pushing ahead. They have the punt return, and they have the touchdown. So things breaking down there for the special teams of the Warriors, and Baltimore makes it 13-10.
Good execution there by the Nighthawks. Pick that up and scoot through to the touchdown.
So things a little bit awry there on special teams over the last few times. The snap was good the previous time. That time the snap was a bit wide, and it moved Troy off her spot. And if you're a punter, instead of going directly forward, you kind of had to almost try the rugby-style kick, and As a result, you don't get as much behind it as you want. But, again, credit to Baltimore. They adjusted there to get the run back for the touchdown. Extra point pending here. 13-0 the score. Special teams hoping for maybe a block here. But a 2-score game in favor of Baltimore. The snap is high. And you're just going to have to fall on the ball here if you're Baltimore. So 13-10 the score. Tri-State going to have some. 13-0, excuse me. I said 13-10 by accident. 13-0 the score. And Tri-State's going to have some comebacking to do. We'll pause for a brief break. You're watching Play-by-Play Productions. A punt return touchdown gives a cushion here for Baltimore. 13-0 the score ahead of Tri-State. And here in the fourth quarter, that means it's going to probably have to be more of a spread style for the Tri-State offense moving forward. Here comes the kickoff. First chance we see the kick return unit for Tri-State. That takes a dead hop at the 30. A quick pickup, though. Ball, though, lost by Taylor. It was a good grab on a hop by Taylor, but lost the football. Fortunate to get it back. And it'll be Tri-State ball at about their own 26-yard line. A key fumble recovery by Ebony Knowles. So we saw Wise start off the second half and provide a spark for this Tri-State offense, but Baltimore making the adjustments in the last two drives. Curious to see what the next move here is on the chessboard, so to say, between these two coaches. Obviously, the defense has been strong for Tri-State, with a defensive coordinator in L.B. Robinson, who was drafted by Washington in the NFL, then had, I believe, 6 or 7 years in the CFL. You know what he brings, but now the offense. In their first game, again, they're still learning that chemistry on the fly. The feet to the fire here, so to say. Going to have to try to get something out.
They got a championship offensive coach who's reached the championship game with the New York. What was the New York?
The Sharks.
Sharks. Yep. With the Sharks. So, he'll get them together at some point in the season.
And this is kind of a crucial point to get those learning curves in, so to say, as a run here up the middle is going to be a good gain, about 2, maybe 3. But you're having to kind of adjust things at quarterback, get a few different looks here. And
this first time against competition, at least they see, what works. And Wiseman in there is where they got the most movement today.
Be second and officially 7 coming up at the 30-yard line. Again here at New Brunswick High in New Jersey, and the Women's Football Alliance here in the Garden State for this inaugural game. It's going to be under center this time. Wise set to take the snap, gets the handoff. Push up the middle for about another yard. So it's going to set up a 3rd and 6. This is manageable. And when you think 2 scores, fourth quarter, the question is, when do you start going for it on 4th down?
I think you have no choice at this point. Time's your enemy now in the fourth quarter. You got everything's 4th down territory unless you're backed up.
And I think part of that is why Coach Harrigan opted to go for the run on a 2nd and 7. You want to try to cut that down to a little bit manageable. Get a gain here, 4 or 5. You have a 4th and short. If you get obviously a little bit longer than that, you have yourself a first down.
Coach is trying probably not to be one-dimensional. Got to run that ball some, soften up the interior of that defense, make it available for some kind of throw later.
Wise again going to take it under center. Baltimore read the play well, but there's a flag on the field as a throw just a bit off the mark. Todd had a step. Pass was just maybe a quarter step too far on the throw from Wise, but there is a flag in the backfield. We'll see if it was some motion offensively or defensively. It was going to be against Tri-State, so that play wouldn't have mattered. So that's going to be declined. 4th down coming up, and again, the question is, when you go for it on 4th down, it looks like it's likely going to be a punt here, I think. Or maybe just a change here at quarterback. Jordan Moy comes in. And actually, they're going to get the punt unit out here. It does look like Randy Troy is going to be ready to take the snap. Moy the up man on this, the 4th down. But Troy's going to take the snap, boot it ahead. It's a pretty good one, and this one takes a favorable bounce. This is where Baltimore not having someone back can be harmful.
This one kind of worked out this time for the Warriors, but the Nighthawks are sitting pretty at 14 zip. All they have to do is hold on. It's up to the Warriors to do something extraordinary to turn the tide here.
And look who downed the ball, by the way. Amanda Avento, the center, hustling down there to make sure that one stayed dead at the 27-yard line. So Baltimore, again, they're in control here, leading 13-0. And here's where you come down to ball protection now. That's obviously going to be key for the Nighthawks. They've had 2 fumbles lost in this second half. 4th quarter of action. Now, they've been keeping the clock internally, so we'll just keep any updates we can in terms of the clock here in the 4th quarter. But obviously, timeouts as well, and the officials will notify when there's 2 minutes left, as it's a pretty good run here on 1st down, off tackle right. And we have seen kind of a spell of runs from Brooke Parker behind the likes of Shea Fitzgerald. It's going to be a gain of about 3. And there is a Warrior who is down here, slow to get up.
That's the unfortunate part of this game, the injuries. Hopefully it's not too severe and she can get up.
Yeah, tough to see right now who it is. We will pause briefly and we'll come back. It'll be 2nd down coming up for Baltimore. You are watching the Women's Football Alliance on Play-by-Play Productions. It was L.J. Fisher who was the one slow to get up. She's getting looked at on the bench as the Warriors on defense limit Baltimore to a short gain on 1st down. It's 2nd and 7 coming up. As again, the Nighthawks will go from an I formation. Fullback in motion. And there'll be a handoff bouncing along the edge. Parker has still a run to get past the 1st down. Second effort there favorable to move the chains.
Looks like everybody's getting some success on that left side, no matter which team it is. Is the grass a little faster on that side?
Sometimes it's just lean on that left tackle to maybe create some openings. But here, moving the chains, Baltimore, every time they can get a first down here, leading by 2 scores, it's going to continue to boost their win probability that much higher.
I think the Warriors going to have to start thinking about some timeouts shortly.
One unfortunate part of this is the continued injuries for this Warriors team. Some of their leading players dealing with injuries. Alexander, one of them. Shauna Alexander, that is.
Someone down again. I think fatigue is also becoming a factor for a team that has first time out, first game. Game speed is a totally different thing from mini camp and training camp.
So we'll have another brief break here as another injury timeout. It's 13-0 Baltimore. We have coverage of the 2022 Tri-State Warriors inaugural game here on Play by Play Productions. Andrea Kapler, the Warrior who was injured, she's getting tended to. It'll be second down coming up for Baltimore as it's a toss along the edge. A decent run here again for Brooke Parker, who's been getting a lot of looks on this drive after Shea Fitzgerald had the majority of the carries through the first 3 quarters. They'll set up a third down as about 5 yards to go here for Baltimore, and this really a pivotal spot for the Warriors. If they want a chance to make the comeback, they're going to need to stop here.
You can't blame the Nighthawks for going to the well. That left side's been working. They're going to keep going to it until the Warriors stop it.
I formation once again. And that's where they've been going. Mostly I formation, mostly off tackle. Left has been working second half. And the handoff this time, not going to get to the edge.
Shut down pretty good by the Warriors this time.
And that was Melissa Blaze. And some of the best plays defensively have been Blaze, having a good game here in the season opener for the Warriors. It's going to set up a 4th down and about 3. I would think punt here is the proper option. And
Blaze lives for football. She, she's just very intense, loves this game. Great to see her out there having fun.
And again, she's had the best success for the Warriors on defense. As Tri-State will send back Ashley Mathis to return this punt. As Lauren Vitak will get ready to take this snap. Snap is good. Vitak gets the punt off and tries to pin this one to the sideline. Doesn't allow for a return there. Ball bounces out of bounds at the 38-yard line.
I think the Warriors will take this and be happy with this field position. Now for them to execute on offense to at least get off the donut. Let's see what they can do.
And we'll see. They went healthy runner to the first 2 plays of the drive, but the third down pass did not work. Again, it's a 13-0 game, but only 7 points allowed on defense by the Warriors. The other score came on a special teams return. And so the offense, all said, you get a score here, you get back in the game, but you could even things up in terms of the offense versus offense dynamic. And that's another thing I think that takes some time to get used to is the special teams, because you're trying to find the specialists who work best, the long snapper, the holder, the kicker, so on and so forth. The gunners as well, blockers. Wise looks for the throw. It's going to be caught up the middle.
Great tackle, great catch, great throw. It's a trifecta there.
Yeah, everything you want there. As Randy Troy took the contact after the catch. It's going to be a gain of 8. But Netta Wise on the pass completion to Randy Troy. Troy, a product of Brick, New Jersey. Her collegiate studies was at Kane University. She's a baker and realtor's assistant. Can be one of those short possession type receivers who certainly willing to get dirty on the ground and make some catches. As the snap was low for Wise, she gets around the edge. Pursuit is going to be there in time for a short gain.
Good gang tackle there. They pursued her and boxed her in. Didn't give her so many options to do a little shake and bake. Good tackle.
Well, you mentioned shake and bake, and someone who's very good at baking, Alicia Owensford, had the tackle. She owns a catering company, so there you go. Shake and bake in more ways than one. So it'll be third down coming up, and after the good first down gain, the snap a little bit off on second down. But again, credit Baltimore. That first drive where there was some big plays with Wise, you think might shake a defense's confidence. Not the case. Baltimore adjusted. And any time that Wise has tried to go outside the tackles since then, she hasn't been able to have the same type of success.
Absolutely. But because the defense is coming up, but that also allowed that throw behind them a little bit. She's going to have to, keep stringing the defense along until she sees an opening and has a window for a throw.
Under center now for the snap. I formation. Baltimore getting ready for the pass, but there's going to be a handoff that's lost. The transfer was misplayed there. It's a fumble lost as Baltimore gets the recovery, and that could put the Nighthawks in position to put this one away.
Yep, that gives the Nighthawks a chance to seal this victory.
In that situation, you're trying to go draw on the run. It looked like Baltimore, they had everyone going back, getting ready. And sometimes that's the best time for the draw, but the handoff wasn't there, and that's one of the things when you're having the change at quarterback is maybe a different look on the handoff between the quarterback and the running back. All these adjustments you have to make on the fly in your first game together as a unit. A little bit of trouble here for the Nighthawks, but they burst through for 5 on first down. And that's honestly enough. If you just get gains of 3, 4, 5, that can eventually help to move the chains and keep this clock going in the fourth quarter.
That's exactly. Keep the penalties down, keep the clock going, and the clock becomes your ally in this situation.
And that's how Baltimore will like to close things out. Again, 13-0 the lead. They scored through the ground on the first drive of the game, and then they had a punt return touchdown in the third quarter. Penetration and the backfield not going to lead to a tackle. And that's pushed forward for about 4 yards. It'll be 3rd and 1 coming up.
None of this defense is allowing people to allow any of the offenses to get confidence running the ball up the middle. That's just not going to happen on either of these defenses. And at least both teams can be secure that they played the run up the middle very well today.
Yeah, everything that Baltimore's had, the big plays have been off tackle. Getting those in space. Up the middle, they've gotten about a max 4 or 5 on a shot. Fitzgerald's actually going to move out wide. They're just going to go with the fullback here on 3rd down, and the tackle met at the line of scrimmage.
Again, a nice stop, a read.
And can you guess who had the tackle? Melissa Blaze. She's been the top tackler on this defense today. It's an inch or two shy, 4th down coming up, and that's huge because I will say this, you kind of tip your hand if you have the running back go out wide, and you know it's going to go to the fullback.
Absolutely. And Melissa's been dying to hit somebody other than the teammate for weeks now. So she's having a ball out there, I assure you that.
Both her and Julia Latson have had good games. The timeout called here. My favorite thing, well, we got each player, their motivation for playing women's football. And Latson, who's a paralegal and U.S. Marine, she called football the legal release of aggression. That's, that she's ready to go here. As we will pause for a quick break, timeout here. Tri-State trailing 13-0. You are watching Play-by-Play Productions. Quickly out of the timeout, it's 4th and inches coming up. Baltimore, first down may help to put this one away. A stop could keep Tri-State a faint glimmer for a chance to come back. It's a fake pitch. Turn around, and it's going to be at the 30-yard line here for Lauren Vitok. Did she have enough for the first down?
Right at the sticks.
Are they going to – they haven't yet moved the chains. That was close. As you had –
looks like the teams are changing changing over. It looks like it was a stop, unless someone called a timeout.
So it looks like actually that was the final play here. Final play of the game. We unfortunately do not have the time here. So again, we kind of left in the dark there, but a stop there, and that is going to be the final play of the game as Baltimore gets their first win of the season, 13-0, and Tri-State's final game. Well, they do get the 4th down stop, a good way for this defense to end. But your thoughts overall on the first game? Obviously, the big thing here is you want to get the 60 minutes in the book, which obviously happened. But you wanted to show some good things for the players to continue to work on in practice. And obviously, Coach Harrigan expected the defense to lead the way until the offense gets the reps, but they certainly did the job today.
First of all, I want to say thank you for tolerating me here in the booth. I appreciate it. You did
No
a great
problem.
job there, Adam.
Thank you.
I had a lot of fun here. Definitely saw a lot of positive things for both teams. Clearly, let's start with the Nighthawks. Clearly, they rebounded from last week. Showed a lot of spunk. The defense was exceptional. The offense had their moments, and they definitely was able to capitalize with the special teams. So it looks like they had the entire, the tourney group, all three aspects of the game going. The Warriors, they show some great things on defense. Clearly, that side of the ball is working well. Special teams was good other than one play where they allowed the touchdown on the return. And the offense showed some points that they can work on, but also showed with Wiseman rolling out, going left in particular, making some exceptional plays, having some options to throw and run, executing on those plays. I think she was probably limited a little bit after the injury and not as effective as she was beforehand, but it showed a great bright spot there.
And I will say that's one of the unfortunate things we saw. Some of the top players suffer injuries in this game, and some of them are able to come back, but Ashana Alexander got injured, and then Netta Wise missed some plays on that key drive, which could have tied the game. And so there's going to be moving pieces for this Tri-State team, but again, they will be on the road for the next three back here in May against New York. We want to thank everybody for tuning in to this inaugural production, but the final score here at the New Brunswick High School, 13-0 in favor of Baltimore. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we wish you a good evening. This has been a production of Play by Play Productions. Take care, everybody.